Stepping on the first session related to the cold mill equipment, Mr. Christian Alter will give his presentation. Please, Mr. Alter, you have 30 minutes for the presentation and then 10 to 15 minutes for answering the question from participants.
Okay, thank you very much for this kind invitation and introduction today. I'm very pleased to present today our cold mill equipment for Indonesia, and I will now share my screen with you. So I hope everybody can see my presentation now. Maybe first introduction of myself. I'm Christian Alter. I'm working for Gebr Pfeiffer since more than 13 years now in the sales department, and I'm responsible for Southeast Asia and especially Indonesia as area manager. It's nice to see so many familiar faces here on Zoom, and I hope you are not too much suffering from this COVID-19 pandemic, and I hope that I can see you all again soon in private and person, which is much better than doing all these video meetings, but because of the situation, this is the only solution we have now available to do our presentations. So today we want to talk about our cold grinding equipment. First of all, I want to give you a short introduction about our company. So Gebr Pfeiffer is a very old company. It's founded in 1864, so we have more than 156 years now of our factory and our company. And we started first in 1890 with wind separating equipment. Already in the 19th century, we have supplied the first ball mills for cement grinding and also the biggest so far on the globe. And this was supplied in 1925 to Russia. In the 1950s, we introduced our vertical mill series on the market for raw and cold grinding. In 1979, the first mill for cement grinding was introduced. And today, we have the largest vertical mills in operation you can find on the planet. So our company is located in Kaiserslautern in Germany. It's about 1 hour drive from Frankfurt. And we have very old parts. The oldest part is our foundry. It's located here. It's in operation since more than 100 years and still in operation. And this is unique for all these companies in Germany and the vertical mill suppliers. We are the only company with a small foundry to prepare special equipment, special liners for our mills to give you very short delivery times for spare parts. Then we have our own fabrication workshop where we have all the steel fabrication and weldings, and we have a machinery workshop to do all our key components in our headquarters. So every part which has where we have the experience, like the grinding rollers, hydraulics, everything will be manufactured in our company. Let's talk about the design. I guess all of you know modern vertical mills. At least every company which is doing vertical mills has 1 or 2 different type of mills. Also our MPS design is shown here. We use this for cold mills, for gypsum calcining mills and special application. And this mill is successful on the market since the 1950s. And we have sold more than 2,200 units of those mills. What is unique? This mill has 3 grinding rollers only. These are stationary and you have a triangular pressure frame, which is connected to the hydraulic system. And this gives you always an equal load distribution on the table, which means all the lifetime of the roller bearings of the gearbox is longer than if you have a big mill with single roller adjustments. We have the latest generation of classifier on top to give you every kind of product you need in terms of fineness. So we can use this classifier for high plane fineness in terms of cement grinding and also for the coarse fineness for raw material and cold grinding. The material will be fed through the chute on the center of the table. And by gravity, the material will be distributed under the rollers. And with the airstream, which is connected here to the hot gas duct. It will be transported to the classifier, where it will be separated, and then the fine product is leaving to the backhouse. We also have a reject chute, a small one. For a coal mill, we have two kind of safety measures here connected, which is special slide gates that you cannot open this reject box when the mill is in operation. If it's in operation, there's a second one which needs to be closed, that there's no false air coming into the mill, which can create explosions, for example. A unique figure for this mill I will show you later on is that we have only one maintenance door. In terms of coal mills where you have very narrow spaces, it's a big benefit because only one access for maintenance, no need to have access all around the mill. Some highlights of the design we have, because of the cylindrical housing, it's pressure shock proof up to 3.5 bar, and for special operations up to 8 bar. We have a very low false air intake because of this only one maintenance door. Other suppliers have 3 or 4 rollers, which means they have 3 or 4 big maintenance doors for each roller. And this gives you by nature a higher false air intake. And false air in coal grinding is something you want to eliminate. By this, we can guarantee a very low O2 level. O2 creates explosion and also nothing you want to have with coal, especially in Indonesia with the high volatile coal. It's not good to have high O2 concentrations. And because of the cylindrical design and this one maintenance door, we have a very high explosion safety and pressure shock proof design. Another special thing, it's not so common in Indonesia, but in some parts of the world, in one mill, there will be different kind of coals and pet cokes grinded. So in terms of pet coke, most of the customers or the suppliers need a VSD drive. In our MPS design, we don't need. We always have a swivel cage or slip ring motor with fixed speed. We have the feed to the center chute. We have a very low vibration level, and our tension device, the 3 pull rods with the hydraulic system, are all located outside of the mill, so no hydraulics are inside in the airstream with the product. Our portfolio, so we have our vertical mill, which can be designed according to all standards you know on the world, NFPA, ATEX. We have the DIN and ISO standards. And we can also do classifier upgrades on existing mills, which we have also done in the past. And we have the GP Pro Advanced Maintenance System. I can give you some details later on. This is our answer to Industry 4.0. So this means we have intelligent sensors, not only in the process, also in bearings and in the oil to measure oil contamination, bearing in the past times. This is something from the One Stone research report from 2016. Most of the coal mills sold worldwide were all vertical mills. Only a few clients still use ball mills, but these are all second-hand mills. No new mills have been sold. You see, 223 coal mills have been ordered, and 268 kiln lines in the same time have been ordered. So most of them still have coal-firing kilns. And the market share for vertical mills is more than 93% compared to all other equipment like ball mills, roller press on the horror mill. So by this, you can see vertical mill is still #1 equipment for coal grinding. Short comparison between a vertical mill and a horizontal mill in terms of power and cost savings. When we take the vertical mill as benchmark, the ball mill has a higher invest because we need more equipment. We need more steel structure, more civil structure. In terms of power, if vertical mill is 100%, even the ball mill has a higher power consumption because we have to turn all the balls, even if there's no material inside the mill. And also the maintenance costs are higher for the ball mill in terms compared to the vertical mill. few additional things about our MPS design. We have liftable grinding rollers, which means when you have a startup of the mill, you lift the rollers with the hydraulic system to have an easy startup and direct start without an auxiliary drive. In the past, or some suppliers still have to equip this motor with auxiliary drive for startup. We can use any kind of standard motors. We have a planetary gearbox. The biggest one so far has 1.3 megawatts. This is installed in the Merah Putih plant in Semindo. And this is so far the biggest. So these are reliable gearboxes. There's no known error so far in any coal mill from Pfeiffer. We still have a maintenance motor here, you can see, which will be connected, for example, to take out the rollers or to empty the mill. For take out of the rollers, there is this triangular pressure frame is lifted, and then by a special device, every roller can be turned to this one maintenance door, and then you can take it out. So for this, we need still a maintenance motor. Then explosion safety, as I already told you, we have a pressure shock proof design up to 3.5 bar for ATEX and NFPA. And for special application and non-European countries, for example, the design is up to 8 bar. The mill access is only from one door, as I already told you. So it's a very space-saving installation. And there are a lot of different types of mills available, from a mill with 800 millimeter table diameter up to 4.5 meter table diameter. Everything is possible and has been supplied by Pfeiffer. So by the 3 grinding rollers, we have this optimum load distribution on the gearbox, low fatigue on the gears, and so you have a very long lifetime. So this picture shows something we all want to avoid, an explosion of a backhouse or a duct. And in order to provide this explosion safety, all Pfeiffer mills will be equipped with special equipment. And if Pfeiffer is supplying a grinding plant, including the ductings, the backhouse, and the fan, there's also additional equipment which we will supply to assure your safety. So this shows a standard flow sheet, how a grinding plant would look like when Pfeiffer will supply it. We have our mill in the center. We have the feeding with metal extraction to prevent metal entering the mill, to have long lifetime of the grinding rollers and elements. We have the backhouse. This backhouse will have explosion flaps. We have airtight seals everywhere. We have instruments. We measure at the hot gas inlet the temperature, CO, and the O2 level. This gives us the figure to see if there will be inerdization required, for example, when the O2 level from the kiln is too high. Then we have measurement of the temperature after the classifier, which is also usual for cement grinding and raw grinding. And after the backhouse, we have CO and O2 level measurement and dust emission to see if the backs are broken, for example. Further safety measures are controlled pressure relief flaps in front of the mill for the hot gas duct and after the classifier, and a flame trap in front of the backhouse. This gives you safety if there's an explosion, because there can be some dust in the ducting, and if this ignites, this flap will take out the pressure to prevent all the other ductings that they will implode. Same here for the flame trap. If there's an explosion in the duct, this prevents that all this ducting will burst and the backhouse will be harmed. Then we have inerdization systems for CO2 or for N2 to take out the oxygen from the system. And we have a special flap assembly. We have a self-closing flap after the backhouse and in front of the mill. So in terms of explosion and in terms of inerdization, these flaps or dampers will close automatically by the means of a weight and a magnetic coupling to assure that all the inerdization gases will stay inside the system with the dust. So this is how a standard arrangement would look like. We will have our feed bin with the belt conveyors and the weight belt feeders with metal extraction. It will be fed to the mill. You can see it here. We go to the center of the mill. And our backhouse here, it's a bigger one. So we have 2 explosion dampers or flaps in front of the backhouse. We have our fan, the hot gas supply ducting, and all the other equipment, you know, which you need for the grinding. And this is just one example of installation. If you have installation like this, you will need to have a pneumatic transport to the finished product silo. We can also put the back filter higher to place the product silo directly under the rotary valve. So you will have a feed of the bin by gravity, and you do not need a pneumatic transport. But by this, all ductings will be longer, so the power requirement of the fan will be higher. So it's just about your requirements, what would be the best general arrangement for your needs. So different types are possible, of course. Here I want to show you some of these special measurements. In this plant, it was a small coal mill with 1.6 meter table diameter in Dunadrava. And this was equipped with a track chain conveyor in front. So no belt conveyor, but a track chain conveyor and a double feeding screw, which is also possible. But nowadays we take rotary valves most of the time. And the track chain conveyor also needs some kind of explosion valve. And this is let outside of the mill building. So if there's an explosion, all the flames will go out of the building. This is the top of the backhouse. So also here we have this explosion flap with burst disc. Nowadays we use the self-closing flap design because it's more reliable. There's just new sensors to be attached and somebody needs to check if they are closed. But in terms of burst disc, which is cheaper of course, but you have to spare a lot of those parts in your storage. This picture shows you the self-closing dampers on the backhouse. It's a small one. For this, you always need to assure that there's no building in the opposites of these dampers. We have one client, they bought only our mill and installed everything by their own, also the backhouse, and they placed this backhouse next to an office building. And one day there was an explosion of the backhouse and the office building was nearly destroyed. So there's also a lot of safety measures around you have to consider. It's always good to have a GA, a general layout, if you make all the plans to assure that there's nobody harmed or no office facility in the opposite of these dampers. When we talk about special give you a little figures about the maintenance. As already told, we have only one access point with this big maintenance store and a special maintenance device called lift and swing. This is consistent of a column which is installed here with a hydraulic system, and this column can take the roller inside and swing it out, and then you can take it by mobile crane to lift it on the ground for replacement of the wear parts or other parts, for example. Then we can also do this with the segments of the table. There's then a small arm. It looks like a small mobile crane, and then you can take out this and bring it back. And for this application, we have a central column where the rollers will be mounted, and we have our maintenance drive, and this maintenance drive will then turn this column with the table that the next roller will come to the front of the door. Then you can take also the second and the third roller out. Most of the clients do hard facing of these rollers. If you have a big mill, you can do this inside the mill. So there's no need to take the rollers out. If there's a small mill where there's not that much space inside for the people to work, it's better to take the rollers out. Then we have symmetric wear parts, means if you have an uneven wear distribution, like more on the outside, less on the inside, you can also turn the roller tires. This gives you a few hours, maybe 10, 15, 20% more lifetime of the rollers, depending on your coal. In terms of the Indonesian coal, with lignite, it's a very soft coal. There's not that much wear. So I guess for Indonesia, it doesn't make much sense to turn these parts. But if you have a hard coal or anthracite coal, like in other countries, then it makes sense to turn them. The hydraulic tension system is totally located outside, so no parts inside. It's easy to maintain and to keep it free from dust. And the drivetrain also, you see the motor is located under the door. It's easy to take it away if you need it with the slide rails, and it's a standard planetary gearbox, which is common all over the world. There are many manufacturers. If we supply a mill, we still take the European manufacturers, because the price difference is not that much if you compare to Chinese, but they are more proven, more reliable, and the service is also better. This is our experience so far. Short summary at not the end, but at the middle of the presentation. With this MPS mill, we have a consistent force introduction, which means the grinding force goes from the hydraulic system to the pressure frame, the rollers, into the grinding bed and the table, and then the forces will go through the housing of the gearbox to the foundation. So every grinding part in the forced circuit is under control, and the complete mill housing is not connected to the grinding forces. This gives you a very low vibration level and a very low noise level. It's very robust and efficient, so the cylindrical housing is very strong, stable. We have this pressure shock proof design with this one maintenance door only. It's gearbox friendly, which means even for startup, we can lift up the rollers, and also for the erection job, when the gearbox comes later, we can already install the mill completely by placing a dummy under the mill, and can put the gearbox under the mill later on. It's very compact design, because you see this is our foundation part. It's very small, compact design. We have 3 connections for each hydraulic cylinder and pull rod 1, and we have the slide rails for the mill motor. That's all we have on the foundation. It's very compact design, and we have very high throughput levels, and the power density in this mill means with very compared low small mill, we can have a high output. We have a molded table liners and a molded rollers. So this means the roller is always going in this grinding bed, and we always have a somehow parallel grinding gap, and this gives you a good distribution of the material inside the mill, and also the vibration level is very low. The symmetric wear parts I already told you, but not that much needed in Indonesia because of your very soft coal. Gebr Pfeiffer has many references on the world, and by this we also need a lot of offices to be near to our customers. So just in the past years, we have opened a new office in KL, Kuala Lumpur, which is dealing the Southeast Asia region. We have also some spare parts warehouses in the Philippines. We have a big office in India, which was our first daughter company. This is our Kaiserslautern office, where I am located. And we have a second big office in the US, dealing with the whole North American continent. Then 3 years ago, we have opened one in Brazil, one in Egypt, and also a daughter company in Russia, with many local partners in Africa and other parts of the world. So this enhances us to give you always a good and a fast support. So for example, in KL, Kuala Lumpur, we have process engineers, and we have supervisors. They can help you with spare parts, with supervision services, and they can travel to any place in Indonesia within a few hours. Something new with the Industry 4.0 I showed on the beginning is our GP Pro system, advanced maintenance. By this, we have also the possibility to collect your data of the operation and can give you a remote support whenever you need it with all our expertise in Kaiserslautern. So whenever you have a problem, you can grant us access to your data of the mill. We can then check the data and can give you advice, for example, how to optimize your operation, how to have more throughput, for example, and all these things. And we can give you also recommendations about the process to check if any other part of the system, like the fan, needs to be optimized, even if we have not supplied it. So, which means we give you installation supervision. This is always something we do. We can send out people from Germany. We can send out people from Kuala Lumpur. The technical service can be done from Kuala Lumpur and also from Kaiserslautern, and also the remote service can be done from us. For commissioning, we also send out our supervisors. Then we have our own test station here in Kaiserslautern to make grinding tests of your material, to design the mill for your needs, because most of the mills were designed according to data we have in our files, which is in all of the cases, there was never a mill which was too small, but if we can grind your material, then we can supply the mill in the right size to be sure that it's not too big, which would also be inefficient. We can do all kinds of material analysis also for cement. We have service contracts, means we can conclude a contract with you that we send out our service staff 1 to 3 times a year for a few days to make maintenance on your mill, to give you training, to give you operation training and all the other things. We have spare parts supply. We have big consignment stocks where we can store parts for you. We can do upgrading, modernization parts. We can upgrade mills. We can upgrade our classifiers and other classifiers. We can give you training sessions. We can give them on site in an existing plant of some other customers. We can also do online training. And nowadays, if we supply an automation system, we can also give you operator training on the automation system in advance on a virtual basis. Then we have also emergency assistance. Our assistance is available almost 24 hours a day. And what we have done in the past very successfully is on-site technical seminars or regional seminars. Maybe some of you already attend our seminars in Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, or Manila in the last years. And this is just something or some things of our customer service which we offer. Let's come to some references. So Brüder Pfeiffer has sold more than 180 coal mills for cement plants worldwide, throughput rates from 8 to 110 tons per hour. So you see this is a wide range which we can offer. And all installations have from 100 to 1.3 megawatt installed power. And these are the references from 1994 onwards. So all MPS mills before 1994 are not considered here. So this is our latest MPS type Series B, which is also working in Indonesia. And in total, more than 2,200 coal mills have been sold worldwide by Pfeiffer for cement, for coal, power, and for the steel industry. So now coming to Indonesia, we have 3 very good references here. The first one is Semen Merah Putih in the Bahia plant located here. It's the biggest coal mill so far sold worldwide. It was sold for 100 tons per hour, and some people from Semen Indo are also listening. I guess it was running at 115 tons at some times, where we have the data available, and it's still the biggest coal mill on world. Also from the capacity which it can bring, it's still the biggest. The second one is located in Sulawesi in the Semen Posowa plant of Maros. The first one has a 4.5 meter table, for example, and this one has 3.75 meters. It's 4 sizes smaller, and it's about 60 tons per hour throughput. And the newest one will be operated in the Grobogan plant, which is located here. The plant is currently under erection because of the pandemic. Everything is a little postponed, but I hope that everything will be ready beginning of next year. Further to the 3 coal mills in the cement plants, there's also one in an old plant which was supplied by FLS in the past. So FLS was our licensee, which means in the past FLS has not their own vertical mills. Every vertical mill sold from FLS before 1995, 98, I guess, was a Pfeiffer mill. So whenever you have an old FLS plant, you will find our MPS mills also, maybe with a FLS brand on it. And also in power plants, we have more than 40 mills sold, most of them in the Surabaya area. And these are mills from the size MPS 2250, which was a mill for the power plant industry. Showing you some references. This is the Bayer mill, 4.5 meter table, 1.3 megawatt installed power, product rate approx 110 tons, and we have a fineness of 15%. The feed moisture of this mill was around 38 to 40%. And this is an operation as a one mill because this serves a 10,000 TBD kiln line, was sold in 2013. The second one in Maros, the second biggest one we have supplied, has 770 kilowatt. It's also doing the same coal, 60 tons per hour, a little finer material, and also the same moisture. And this is in operation since 2013. The latest one will be in the Grobogan installation, 3.35 meter table, 800 kW, also lignite, 50 tons per hour, and hopefully beginning of next year, this mill will be in operation. Then also in the neighborhood of Indonesia, in Cambodia, we have supplied a big plant with 3 mills, also with a coal mill, 800 kW. And this plant in Cambodia also has a 5-meter raw mill of the new MVR design, which is the most modern vertical mill on the market so far, and a multi-drive mill with 6 meters for cement grinding. And this mill has 4 motors. This is very special. This is the first mill with multi-drive in Southeast Asia. This is something the client from Turkmeas granted us, is a reference letter to show how confident they are with all these mills and that they run to their completed satisfaction, and everything, including service from Pfeiffer, is very good, and they are happy that we have served everything to them. Some other references, you see, this is now a mill in India, also 3.5 meter table, and this is a standard coal. This makes 90 tons per hour, and even they have 1.3 megawatt, even if this mill is smaller, because this coal is harder to grind than lignite. Same in the Ukraine, same kind of mill, 1.1 megawatt, and they do a mix. They can grind coal and anthracite, and there's just changing the product by pushing one button, so no need to make changes inside the mill. This one is in Vietnam. They also do anthracite coal. It's a very old one, 2005 installation. They do only 34 tons with 3-meter mill because this anthracite coal is very hard to grind. So far, that's all from my side. I hope it was an interesting presentation for you. If there's anything else you want to see or need, you can ask questions. We can share additional slides with you, and